Today, Grammy Jules is going to read you the story of the three spinners. Once there was a girl who could not spin thread. She could do other things, but she could not or would not spin. It made her mother very angry to see her sitting idle at the spinning wheel. "You lazy, lazy girl," she would shout, and then she would hit the girl across the shoulders. One day when she was shouting and the girl was sitting crying at the spinning wheel, the queen happened to pass by her in her coach. She heard the girl crying and called to her coachman to stop the horses. "Why are you beating your daughter?" she asked. "Why are you shouting at her? Why is she crying? What has she done?" A queen's question should always be answered truthfully. But the old woman was too ashamed to say that she thought her daughter was lazy. So instead, she said, "My daughter loves to spin. I am only a poor old woman and I cannot afford to buy flax. She cries because she wants to spin. I do not know what to do." "Your troubles are over," said the queen, who, as it happened, loved to hear the whirl of the spinning wheel and to see freshly spun thread. "I have plenty of flax at the palace. I will take your daughter home with me and she could spin as much as she likes." The queen took the girl to the palace and showed her 3 rooms which were full from floor to ceiling with unspun flax. "Spin all that flax into thread, my dear, and you shall marry my son," said the queen. The poor girl did not know what to do. Of course she wanted to marry the prince, but how could she? She didn't know how to spin. For 3 whole days she sat and wept. On the 3rd day, the queen came to see her. "Why are you weeping, child? Why haven't you started to spin?" said the queen. The poor girl sobbed even harder. "I brought you to the palace to spin flax," said the queen sternly. "If there is no thread for me to see by tomorrow, you will be punished." When the queen had swept majestically from the room, the poor girl, so sad, she stood at the window overlooking the street and cried as though her heart would break. Presently, through her tears, she saw 3 strange women walking along the pavement. One of them had a very broad foot. It was flat and long. One of them had a lip that hung all the way down over her chin. And the third had an enormous thumb. One of the women called up to the window and asked the girl why she was weeping. "I want to marry the prince," she sobbed, "but first I must spin all this flax, and I do not know how to spin." "If you will call us aunt and be unashamed of our strange appearance, and if you will invite us to sit with you at your wedding, we will help you," said the women. "I shall be glad to call you aunt," said the girls. The 3 strange women were as good as their word. They slipped unnoticed into the palace and set to work. The one with the broad, flat foot worked the spinning wheel. The one with the lip which hung over her chin wetted the flax. And the one with the enormous thumb twisted the thread. Together they spun the finest thread the queen had ever seen. She was impressed, though she thought the girl herself had done the spinning, for the 3 strange women hid when they overheard the queen coming. At last all the flax had been spun, and it was time for the wedding. When the arrangements were being made, the girl said to the queen, I have 3 aunts who have been very kind to me. May I invite them to the wedding, and may they sit with me at the table? Of course, said the queen. An invitation was sent, and on the day of the wedding, the 3 strange women arrived, and they were welcomed kindly by the girl and the prince. Tell me, aunt, said the prince, who couldn't help noticing such things, why have you such a broad, flat foot? Because I thread a spinning wheel, said the first aunt. And how is it that you have such a long lip? He asked the second aunt. Because I wet the spinning thread. And why have you such a large thumb? Asked the prince to the third aunt. Because I twist the spinning thread, she answered. The prince looked at these 3 strange women, one with a broad flat foot, one with a lip that hung down over her chin, and one with an enormous thumb, and then he looked at his beautiful bride. If that is what spinning thread does to a woman, he said, I forbid you to ever touch a spinning wheel. And so the girl married her prince, and the 3 spinners moved into the palace to take care of all the spinning. They loved spinning as much as the girl loved the prince, and so everyone was happy, and everyone lived happily ever after. Good night, my sweet kiddos. Grammy Jules loves you.